아무 없었어. 나의 호기심이 잠시 날 흔들리게 했을 뿐 너에게 부처 함정명 따위는 하지 않을게. 이젠 날 이해해줘. 내 잘못을 모두 인정할 테니까.
그렇게 말을 하면 나도 할 말은 없어. 이해해줄게. 하지만 내게 약한 모습은 보이지만 사랑하니까 언제나 단단한 너의 모습에 난 항상 매력을 느꼈던 거야. 누구나 한 번은 실수하지만 두 번은 안 돼. 내가 못 견딜 테니까 너.
Hi, good evening, daddies, mummies, children, grandmas, grandpas. Welcome to the Admiralty Long-Term RC English Storytelling Session. I'm Shami. Today, we'll be reading the story The Nutcracker. The story of the Nutcracker is loosely based on the popular fantasy story The Nutcracker and the Mouse King, about a girl who befriends a nutcracker that comes to life on Christmas Eve and wages a battle against the evil Mouse King. Written by Tchaikovsky in 1892, it was first performed on Christmas Eve, and it has now become a Christmas classic that is performed every Christmas season by the best ballet troupes all over the world. Today's story is an adaptation by the New York City Ballet. The Nutcracker. It was Christmas Eve at the Scotsman house, and like children everywhere, Marie and Fritz were so excited that they could feel their toes tingle. The parents were decorating their Christmas tree before the big holiday party, and Marie and Fritz were not allowed into the sweet room until it was done. They jostled each other to take a peek at the glittering tree through the keyhole. At last, the guests arrived, and the doors were thrown open. Let the party begin, everyone cried as they joyfully filled the festive room. The children danced and played, and everyone was merry until the lights flickered and the room grew dark. A mysterious hand with a young boy entered from the shadows. The man was dressed all in black with a huge fluttering cape. The children started to hide behind their parents just as he turned and flung back his cape over his shoulder. Ah, there was nothing to fear, except for Drosselmeyer, Marie's beloved godfather. Marie flew into his arms for a hug and shyly met his young nephew. Fred Drosselmeyer was a toy inventor, and his visit for him was always full of surprises. The curious children, their eyes full of wonder, gathered around three huge boxes he had brought with him. Suddenly, the boxes sprang open, and out leaped one black-sized doll, then another, and then another. The dogs danced for the delighted crowd. As the celebration continued, her daughter Maria beckoned to Marie, who had a special gift for her, a nutcracker. The nutcracker was dressed as a handsome soldier with a white beard. Her daughter Maria showed Marie how the nutcracker was opened and taught his mom to crack nuts for everyone. Crack, crack! Marie was enjoying cracking nuts and passing them out to the children when suddenly jealous Fritz swooped in and snatched the nutcracker from her. He flung it around the room and smashed it down onto the floor with a loud bang. Marie burst into tears. The nutcracker was broken. But her Drosselmayer knew just how to fix the nutcracker. He tied a scarf around the nutcracker's head like a bandage, and landed his back and handed him back to Marie, who cradled him in her arms. Then, her Drosselmayer's nephew gave Marie a tiny bed that was the perfect size for a nutcracker, and Marie nestled him in it to rest. The party was coming to a close, and everyone joined in for one last dance. When the music ended, the guests bundled up and made their way out into the frosty night air. Marie waved goodbye to her dear godfather and his handsome nephew. It had been a long evening, and it was time for bed. During the night, Marie awoke, remembering that the nutcracker was alone downstairs in his bed. She ran down to scoop him up. With the nutcracker safely in her arms, she curled up on the sofa and drifted back to sleep in the soft glow of the Christmas tree. She hadn't been asleep for long when her Drosselmayer slipped back into her house to comfortably land the nutcracker. He gently slid him out of Marie's arms, prepared him under the light of the moon, and disappeared into the darkness. But then, strange things began to happen. At the stroke of midnight, Marie was pulled from her sleep by the clock chime. She rubbed her eyes in surprise. Three big mice appeared from the shadows and began to walk the room. With her, with a rumble and a shake, the train began to roll before her eyes. The lights were flashing brightly as it rose higher and higher. Then, three toy soldiers ran to life. They marched in to battle the mice. The mice were led by the fierce and terrible Mouse King, who wore a shiny crown on his head. Then the nutcracker himself came to life, growing until he was the size of Marie. His bed, now huge, spun around and around. The nutcracker leaped out of the bed to lead the battle against the mice. The Mouse King towered over the nutcracker, haunting him, when a quick thinking Marie shot with her, and it landed on the king's head. He turned to look away, and the nutcracker covered his face. The nutcracker triumphantly placed the Mouse King's crown in victory. At that very moment, the ancient spell that had been cast on the nutcracker was broken. He transformed into a handsome prince who looked very much like her Drosselmayer's nephew. The prince gallantly placed the crown on top of Marie's head and led her by the hand into the starry night, beyond her house and deep into the forest toward the Christmas star. Snow began to fall, and the glistening flakes began to dance. The prince took Marie on a fantastic journey. They boarded a cozy walnut boat and sailed into the night. soon landing in an enchanted kingdom was the land of sweets. The land of sweets was a magical place filled with candy dripping in icing and magnificent, delicious colors so far as the eye could see. News of their arrival traveled fast. The Marie and the prince was greeted by the Sugarman fairy who reigned over the land. She welcomed them with a curtsy and with a wave of a lovely one whose of delights from her kingdom appeared before them. The prince told the story of a great battle with the mountain. Oh, you are very brave. You are both very brave, the sugar plum fairy said. That she invited them to celebrate by settling into magnificent candy rooms with big bowls of chocolate, cake, and ice cream set before them. The sugar plum fairy summoned everyone in the land of sweets to dance for the prince and Marie in honor of their victory. First, there was the delightful dance of spicy Spanish hot chocolate, preceded by the call of trumpets and jumping fingers. Then came the mysterious and raving coffee dance, with the beating of tiny cymbals, giving way to explosive lips and currents of giant tea. The jumping candy canes emerged next, leaping high into the air and dancing through hoops. One after candy canes, Marzipan, Chipolets stepped out, tiptoeing delicately while playing their flutes. The biggest surprise of all was the gigantic Mother Ginger, who spread before them. All of a sudden, 8 tiny clouds of polychinelles sprang from beneath her skirt and danced to the rhythm of her tambourine. As Mother Ginger scooted the sugaring off, a garden of flowers appeared. Beneath the blooms was the shimmering dewdrop fairy, and with each step she brought every single petal to life in blossoming swirls of pink. Finally, the big sugar plum fairy returned with her noble cavalier. They floated gracefully about, and then she spun faster and faster before leaping into his arms. It was all so deliciously marvelous. With another wave of her hand, the sugar plum fairy summoned her whole kingdom for a joyous farewell celebration. If love can stay wanted to stay, it was time for Marie and Prince to leave the land of sweets and return to their families. As the lovely soft snow continued to fall, they climbed into a beautiful sleigh pulled by magical reindeer. Marie and the prince turned to wave goodbye to their new friends as they rose higher and higher into the sky, away from their sweet celebration and into the starry night. And that is the end of the story, The Nutcracker. And here's a little trivia about the Nutcracker, some fun facts to know. A Christmas tree grows to a full height of 41 feet and weighs 1 ton. 1 ton is 1,000 kg. 15 pounds of paper snow is used to create the snowstorm that ends the first act of ballet. There are 144 jingle bells on each of the candy cane costumes. Mother Ginger's skirt weighs 85 pounds and is 9 feet wide. There are nearly 1 million watts of lighting used in the ballet's grand finale. Each performance features more than 50 dancers and more than 60 children from the School of American Ballet, the official school of New York City Ballet. More than 150 costumes are worn by the cast, and 62 musicians play in the orchestra. And that's all for the fun facts about the Nutcracker, the New York City Ballet's Nutcracker. Okay, and then just ending off a little bit of background about the Nutcracker and the New York City Ballet's version. The Nutcracker was composed by Peter Tchaikovsky and choreographer Maria Sottin, and it was first performed at the Mariinsky Theatre in St. Petersburg, Russia on December 1892. The ballet was not initially a success, but it became really successful over time, and now it's a very, very famous classic performed by ballets all over the world. And the New York City Ballet's version by George Balanchine, who was born in St. Petersburg in 1904 and performed in the Nutcracker as a student in the Mariinsky Theatre, decided to choreograph his own version of the ballet as his first full-length work for the New York City Ballet, which he had co-founded in 1948. Premiering on February 2nd, 1954, Balanchine's production of the Nutcracker was an extraordinary success and it helped to establish both the ballet and its form as perennial favorites around the world. And now we move on to question and answer. Question 1. The Nutcracker is a classical story performed by ballets all over the world during which occasion? 1. Lunar New Year. 2. Christmas. 3. Deepavali. Or 4. Hari Raya. If you know the answer, I think you can go to the Woodlands Land or the Emirati Zone RC Facebook page and post your answers, and there's a little prize for you. Question 2. The Nutcracker Ballet was composed by 1. Tchaikovsky, 2. Beethoven, 3. Jay Chou, or 4. Justin Bieber. If you know the answer, you can go to the Facebook page to write your answer. Question 3. The Christmas tree grows to a full height of 1. 20,000 cm, or 2. 41 meters, or 3. 41 feet. Again, if you know the answer, you can go to the Emirati Zone 10 RC Facebook page to post your answers, and there will be a little prize for you. So that's the end of my storytelling. So we will be ending the storytelling session with a YouTube clip of highlights from the Nutcracker Ballet performance. Enjoy the performance, and I hope the Nutcracker will ignite your interest in classical music. Thank you and good night. If you would like to watch the Nutcracker, it is an hour long, and I would recommend that you watch the one by the Russian ballet. And our Uncle Leon, and maybe he can post it on Facebook for you. Yeah, this one by the Mariinsky Theatre. You can go to youtube.com and then you can search for the Nutcracker, and the first one is Tchaikovsky, the Nutcracker Ballet in 2 acts by the Mariinsky Theatre. This would be the one that I recommend you to watch. Okay, good night everybody. Thank you for your time. Bye bye.